got it. I'm gonna read you a story. If I can get the phone to stand up. I need to bear with me for a moment. Let's stay. Oh, this is the entire book. Oh yeah, Nick, sweet. Okay. I think I've got it propped up. As you can see, I've still got this liquid eyeliner. Well, it's actually liquid lipstick that I put on my eyes. I've tried to wash it off 3 times. It won't come off. It hurts. It's kind of burning. But I said I would do this a while ago. I know I still haven't finished reading The Plague to you. But I did want to read, and I don't want to finish something long. So I thought I would read to you a short story. Very short story. Ray Bradbury. And this was originally published in Dandelion Wine. Which is this it? I think it's in here. No? No, this is the entire book. No, never mind. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh my god. Somewhere here. I had a book of short stories somewhere here. And I don't know where it's gone. What on earth? Hey, Phil.
Yes?
Do you know where that book is that has the Soft Rains Will Come? That Bradbury story? Do you know where that book is?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hi. I'm just gonna say hi to everybody while we wait for this book. Look at that. Man, I haven't read to people in a while. So awesome. So this is a better version. This actually has it in it. Dandelion Wine is a novel. This is the stories of Ray Bradbury. This was what I was looking for. There Will Come Soft Rains. That's the story I wanted to read. I marked it. It's right there. So I haven't read in a while because, first of all, I kind of got depressed. I spent a little time being depressed. Then I was focusing on doing some big paintings. And I kind of lost track of the days in there somewhere. Then I was totally like hyper-focused on getting ready to go back to work, to tattooing, because I thought I would be doing that this month, June. And then I realized I probably couldn't until July. So I started scheduling for July, and I bought a bunch of protective gear. Oh my god, crazy protective gear. And then turns out I am not starting until August. So now that pressure is off, and I can stop being concerned about that. And I realized today I was doing a bunch of dumb videos, and I realized I haven't read in a long time. So I'm going to read There Will Come Soft Rains, which is my favorite Bradbury story. In the living room, the voice clock sang, "Tick-tock, 7 o'clock, time to get up. Time to get up, 7 o'clock," as if it was afraid that nobody would. The morning house lay empty. The clock ticked on, repeating and repeating its sounds into the emptiness. 7-9, breakfast time, 7-9. In the kitchen, the breakfast stove gave a hissing sigh and ejected from its warm interior 8 pieces of perfectly browned toast, 8 eggs, sunny side up, 16 slices of bacon, 2 coffees, and 2 cold glasses of milk. Today is August 4th, 2026, said a voice from the kitchen ceiling, in the city of Allendale, California. It repeated the date 3 times for memory's sake. Today is Mr. Featherstone's birthday. Today is the anniversary of Toleda's marriage. Insurance is payable, as is water, gas, and light bills. Somewhere in the walls, a relay clicked. Memory tapes glided under electric eyes. 8-1, tick-tock, 8-1 o'clock. Off to school, off to work. Run, run, 8-1. But no doors slammed. No doors slammed. No carpets took the soft tread of rubber heels. It was raining outside. The weather box on the front door sang quietly. Rain, rain, go away. Rubber's raincoats for today. And the rain tapped on the empty house, echoing. Outside, the garage chimed and lifted its door to reveal the waiting car. After a long wait, the door swung down again. At 8:30, the eggs were shriveled and the toast like stone. An aluminum wedge scraped them into the sink, where hot water whirled them down a metal throat, which digested and flushed them away to the distant sea. The dirty dishes were dropped into a hot washer and emerged, twinkling and dry. 9:15, sang the clock. Time to clean. Out of the warrens in the wall, tiny robot mice darted. The rooms were a crawl with the small cleaning animals, all rubber and metal. They thudded against chairs, whirling their mustached runners, kneading the rug nap, sucking gently at all the hidden dust. And then, like mysterious invaders, they popped into their burrows. Their pink electric eyes faded, and the house was clean. 10 o'clock. The sun came out from behind the rain. The house stood alone in a city of rubble and ashes. This was one house left standing. At night, the ruined city gave off a radioactive glow which could be seen for miles. 10:15. Garden sprinklers whirled up in golden founts, filling the soft morning air with the scatterings of brightness. The water pelted window panes, running down the charred west side where the house had been burned evenly free of its white paint. The entire west face of the house was black, save for 5 places. Here, the silhouette in paint of a man mowing a lawn. Here, as in a photograph, a woman bent over picking flowers. And farther over, their images burned on wood in one titanic instant. A small boy, hands flung into the air, and higher up the image of a thrown ball. Opposite him, a girl, hands raised to catch a ball which never came down. The 5 spots of paint, man, woman, and children, the ball, remained. The rest was a thin layer of charcoal. The gentle sprinkler rain filled the garage with falling light. Until this day, how well the house had kept its peace. How carefully it had inquired, "Who goes there? What's the password?" And getting no answer from lonely foxes and whining cats, it had closed its windows and drawn shades, in an old maidenly preoccupation with self-protection which bordered on a mechanical paranoia. It quivered at each sound, the house. If a sparrow brushed a window, the shade snapped up. The bird would fly off. Not even a bird must touch the house. The house was an altar with 10,000 attendants, big, small, servicing, attending in choirs. But the gods had gone away, and the ritual of the religion continued, senselessly and uselessly. 12 noon. A dog whined, shivering on the front porch. The front door recognized the dog's voice and opened. The dog, once huge and fleshy, but now gone to bone and covered with sores, came in and through the house, tracking mud. Behind it whirred the angry mice, angry at having to pick up mud, angry at inconvenience. But not a leaf fragment blew under the door, but the wall panels flipped open, and the copper scrap rats flashed swiftly out. The offending dust, hair, or paper, seized in miniature steel jaws, was raced back to the burrows. and there, down tubes which fed into the cellar, were dropped into the sighing vent of an incinerator which sat like an evil ball in the dark corner. The dog ran upstairs, yelping to each door, at last realizing, as the house realized, that only silence was here. It sniffed the air and scratched at the kitchen door. Behind the door, the stove was making pancakes, which filled the house with a rich baked odor and the scent of maple syrup. The dog frothed at the mouth, lying at the door sniffing, its eyes turned to fire. It ran wildly in circles, biting at its tail, spun in a frenzy, and died. It lay in the parlor for an hour. 2 o'clock, sang a voice. Delicately sensing decay at last, the regiments of mice hummed out as softly as blown gray leaves in an electrical wind. 2:15. The dog was gone. In the cellar, the incinerator glowed suddenly, and a whirl of sparks leapt up the chimney. 2:35. Bridge tables sprouted from the patio walls, and playing cards fluttered onto pads in a shower of pips. Martinis manifested on an oak bench with egg salad sandwiches, and music played. But the tables sat silent, and the cards were not touched. And at 4 o'clock, the tables folded like great butterflies back through the paneled walls. I have to fix this crookedness. Oh. That's a little better. 4:30. The nursery walls glowed. Animals took shape. Yellow giraffes, blue lions, pink antelopes, lilac panthers, cavorting in crystal substance. Oh. Yeah, this thing. Stay where you're put. Phone. Oh, it's gonna stay there. Oh my god, you guys, this phone. I swear. Will it stay? Will it stay? Okay, good. Hidden films clocked through well-oiled sprockets, and the walls lived. The nursery floor was woven to resemble a crisp cereal meadow. Over this ran aluminum roaches and iron crickets, and in the hot, still air, butterflies of delicate red... Jeez Louise. Oh my goodness. This freaking thing. Stay. Stay. Where's I? In the hot, still air, butterflies of delicate red tissue wavered among the sharp aromas of animal spoor. There was the sound like a great matted yellow hive of bees, and the lazy bumble of a purring lion. And there was the patter of okapi feet, and the murmur of fresh jungle rain, like other hooves falling upon the summer-starched grass. And the walls dissolved into distances of parched weed, mile on mile in warm, endless sky. The animals drew away into the water holes. It was the children's hour. 5 o'clock. A bath filled with clear, hot water. 6, 7, 8 o'clock. The dinner dishes manipulated like magic tricks, and in the study a click. In a metal stand opposite the hearth, where a fire now blazed warmly, a cigar popped out, half an inch of soft gray ash upon it, smoking and waiting. 9 o'clock. The beds warmed their hidden circuits, because nights were cool here. 9:05, a voice spoke from the study ceiling. Mrs. McClellan, which poem would you like this evening? The house was silent. The voice said at last, since you express no preference, I shall select a poem at random. Quiet music rose to back the voice. Sarah Teasdale, as I recall your favorite. There will come soft rains, and the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound. Frogs in the pools singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire. And not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it is done. Not one would mind, neither bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. The fire burned on the stone hearth, and the cigar fell away into a mound of quiet ash on its tray. The empty chairs faced each other between the silent walls, and the music continued to play. At 10 o'clock, the house began to die. The wind blew. A falling tree bough crashed through a kitchen window. Cleaning solvent, bottled, shattered onto the stove, and the room was ablaze in an instant. "Fire!" screamed a voice. The house lights flashed. Water pumps shot water from the ceilings. But the solvent spread on the linoleum, licking, eating, under the kitchen door. And the voices all took it up in chorus. "Fire! Fire! Fire!" The house tried to save itself. The doors sprang shut, but the windows were broken by the heat, and the wind blew in and sucked on the fire. The house gave ground as fire, in 10 billion angry sparks, moved with flaming ease from room to room and then up the stairs. While scurrying water rats squeaked from the walls, pistoled their water and ran for more. And the walls sprayed down showers of mechanical rain. But too late. Somewhere sighing, a pump shrugged to a stop, and the quenching rain ceased. The reserve water supply, which had filled baths and washed dishes for many quiet days, was gone. The fire crackled up the stairs. It fed on Picasso and Matisse in the upper halls like delicacies, baking off their oily flesh, then crisping the canvases into black shavings. Now the fire lay in the bed, stood in the window, changed the color of the drapes. And then reinforcements. From attic trapdoors, blind robot faces peered down with faucet mouths gushing a green chemical. The fire backed off, as even an elephant must at the sight of a dead snake. Now there were 20 snakes whipping on the floor, killing the fire with a clear, cold venom of green froth. But the fire was clever. It had sent flame outside the house, up through the attic to the pumps. An explosion, and the attic brain which directed the pumps shattered into bronze shrapnel on the beams. The fire rushed back into every closet and felt of all the clothing hanging there. And the house shuddered, oak bone on bone, its bared skeleton cringing from the heat, its wire, its nerves revealed, as if a surgeon had torn the skin off to let the red veins and capillaries quiver in the scalded air. "Help! Help! Fire! Run! Run!" Heat snapped mirrors like the first brittle winter ice. And the voices wailed, "Fire! Fire! Run! Run!" like a tragic nursery rhyme, a dozen voices, high and low, like children dying in a forest alone. And the voices fading as the wires popped their sheathing like hot chestnuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 voices died. In the nursery, the jungle burned. Blue lions roared, purple giraffes bounded off. Panthers ran in circles, changing color, and 10 million animals running before the fire vanished towards a distant steaming river. 10 more voices died, and in the last instant, under the fire avalanche, other choruses, oblivious, could be heard, announcing the time, playing music, cutting the lawn by remote control mower, setting an umbrella frantically out and in, slamming and opening the front door. 1,000 things happening at once. Like a clock shop when each clock strikes the hour insanely before or after the other, a scene of maniac confusion, yet unity. Singing, screaming, a few last cleaning mice darting bravely out to carry the horrid ashes away, and one voice, with sublime disregard for the situation, reading poetry, again aloud in the fiery study, until all the film spools had burned, until all the wires withered, all the circuits cracked. The fire burst the house and let it slam flat down, puffing out skirts of sparks and smoke. In the kitchen, an instant before the rain of fire and timber, the stove could be seen making breakfasts at a psychopathic rate. 10 dozen eggs, 6 loaves of toast, 20 dozen bacon strips, eaten by fire, and started the stove working again, hysterically hissing. The crash. The attic smashing into kitchen and parlor. The parlor into cellar. The cellar into the subcellar. Deep freeze, armchair, film tapes, circuits, beds, and all, like skeletons thrown in a cluttered mound deep under the house. Smoke and silence, a great quantity of smoke. Dawn showed faintly in the east. Among the ruins, one wall stood alone. Within the wall, a last voice said, over and over, again and again, even as the sun rose to shine upon the heaped rubble and steam. Today is August 5th, 2026. Today is August 5th, 2026. Today is... I think the worst thing about that story is the dog. So, the house is completely automatic. It feeds the people. It reads them poetry. Lights their cigar. Sets up their bridge game. None of those people thought for a moment to have the house automatically feed the dog. He starved. I mean, if my house was completely automatic, I think the very first thing I would program it to do would be to feed my dog. I mean, if I don't feed the dog, come here, come on. She doesn't care. If I don't feed her, for some reason, then the house should notice and feed her. If I didn't give her water, the house should notice and give her water. Something's obviously wrong with me, so the house is a machine. It should take care of it. But they didn't even do that. These people didn't care. The dog just died. The dog died while it could smell food. The Teasdale poem that's in this story, it's doggerel. It's pretty shitty, but I really like the last two phrases. And I'm going to read them again, and then I'm going to sign off for the day, because I think 3 videos in one day is, well, you know, it's how I do things. Nothing for a while and then all at once. Again, Sarah Teasdale. Not one would mind, not bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. And that's, There Will Come Soft Rains. There Will Come Soft Rains. What year did he write that? I want to know. I'm not sure. What year is this? Soft Rains. It says originally published. Damn. 1950. He wrote that in 1950. I'll read some more soon. Whether it's more Bradbury, I'll put up a poll or something in my stories. But I also have a bunch of other books I've been wanting to read little segments of. I've got Kaddish up here. I've got some Ginsberg, even though he's kind of iffy for me. Rachel Carson, some Celine, who's also iffy. I know I wanted to read Slapstick, but it's long. I think I just want to read some short stories and short things for a while. Maybe I'll read some poetry, because that's wonderful. Everyone loves poetry. People just fucking love poetry. People go out of their way for poetry. They pay Poets are millionaires, billionaires. I mean, fuck. Poetry. That's a big one. Anyway, I'll either read another short story or some poetry soon. I'm not sure I can emotionally... I'm not sure I want to. Just say I want to. I'm not sure I want to read The End of the Plague yet, because to me, it feels like when I read the end of that, it should be at the end of the plague. And we are very far from the end of our plague. So I don't want to do that yet. Yeah. So I'll talk to you soon. Stay safe. Mask up. And, do all the shit you need to do.